Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Metabreakers Podcast, episode 91, starring your favorite hosts in Hearthstone. We got in the middle here everybody's favorite Gator, Warshack. And then on the right, we have everybody's favorite. I need to come up with some new things here. Everybody's favorite Demon Hunter, Draco Cat. And then we got me, D Money. I'm here. We got the Meta Breakers here for you. We got a great episode. This is the first episode since the new expansion. We got some awesome stuff for you guys today, this morning. Hello, welcome. What's going on, guys?
Yeah, it was good.
All right.
I'm out of town right now. I'm hanging out with my wife's side of the family for Easter. But other than that, I've been loving Hearthstone this week. Really enjoying this is like my favorite time ever to play Hearthstone, and I feel like this year was pretty special in regards to it being fun. So I had a good time.
Yeah, I can definitely.
Yeah.
Dan? No. You go.
You first. No.
All right.
I insist.
Okay. Yeah. Just like Draco said, dude, this is a fantastic time to play Hearthstone and to get back into it. The meta's fresh. Bunch of new decks coming out each and every day. Between 3 sets leaving, 1 set entering, standard core set changing as well. There's just a lot of different stuff doing very well. Obviously, there's some outliers, which we'll talk about later in the podcast, about some annoying stuff that's like still kind of a problem. But overall, like there's just so many different decks to try. I can't like every stream. I'm just like, man, I didn't even like scratch the surface of like what people are pushing out right now. And it feels good, you know what I mean? And however long this lasts, I don't know. You normally like if a set just releases with no sets leaving, it lasts for 2 to 3 weeks ish, and then it starts to like fade a little bit as the meta develops. But because there was so much occurring, like I'm hoping this lasts like the honeymoon period of like things feeling new, at least propels us into like a month or like hopefully well over a month. But right now I'm just taking it in stride, enjoying Hearthstone, and the meta's it's been fun. It's been fun.
Yeah, I just want to say first of all, happy Easter to everybody who's celebrating. By the way, it is the Easter podcast. But yeah, I agree with both of those sentiments. I was saying it. I did a 24-hour stream this expansion. I'd done it past like 7 expansions or something. I don't know, something crazy like that. And this is the best day. This was the best day 1 of an expansion in like a year and a half or something. Like not even exaggerating. I had a great time most of the time. There were, of course, like Rob was saying, like Warshack was saying, there have been there's a couple outliers that are like in power level could be pretty annoying at times, but for the most part, having fun in Hearthstone, and yeah, best day 1 expansion in a long time to me.
Nothing broke.
Agreed.
There's nothing broken. Everybody kind of just like,
yeah, the first day, like there wasn't like one deck that 70% of people were playing. Like now it's like 50% or 40% are playing like Druid, but it's still, we'll take it. It's way. I think the game is in a way better. It's going in a way better direction than it was very previously. So like the whole thing is like the core set that like sets up for like the rotation, and the core set like sets up for the year, for like the rest of the year in Hearthstone. And I think the way the core set is, it's pretty promising for like the future, especially since we have a Highlander card in there. I'm excited. They wouldn't put that in there if they were gonna.
They weren't printing more.
All right?
Yeah. Reno's back, right? So it's just like it's not if they're gonna print more Highlander card. It's just when they're gonna add more Highlander cards. But there was a funny thing on Reddit just to add to like things good now. It was like, you guys don't like the meta now, or you guys enjoying the meta now, wait till the second expansion every year. And it like last year was United in Stormwind, and the one before that was Skullomance. And both of those are the second expansion each year, which like made the meta super powerful and very unenjoyable. So they're like, don't you get too comfortable yet. Second expansion each year is, we're on a track record here. So but nah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Yeah.
It'll be fine. It was gonna be fine.
And also, I just wanted to say that I don't think that Reno being in the game means they're gonna print Highlander cards.
Oh, okay.
I,
Spicy.
they could it is totally very on flavor for them to put like a card in as a neutral legendary and not support it. That is
That's
like
true.
I like Highlander decks, and I want them to make like I don't know, like a Demon Hunter Highlander card or some reason to do that. That would be great. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if we go the entire time and they just like threw Reno into the core set as just if you want to, yeah, you know. But
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not buying it. I believe in it. I believe in the Highlander coming back, and
Hopium.
I also still believe that since all these mechs came back, that Magnetize is still coming back as well. That's just my theory. You know, we'll see.
That would make Mech Mage pretty damn good.
That would be
That'd be
really
kind of
problem.
nutty.
I don't think they're gonna bring Magnetize back, man. That's crazy,
I mean, you
dude.
don't even
Like,
know what the magnetic cards would be, so. But I don't know. It just makes sense. We'll see.
it does unless you look at the amount of mechs that are in the game right now and realize that we're at like an all-time high since the Boomsday expansion. So it's unlikely that they print a whole nother mechanic again, right? That's going to put more mechs in the game to the point where the game would have more mechs than anything, right? That would be
Well, it's
weird.
not. It's not a new mechanic though. They said they're gonna bring back. They still said that they were gonna bring back a mechanic and make it evergreen. So there's still hope.
We didn't
As long
figure out
as
what
it's,
that was.
No, no, no.
they
Wait,
I'm
don't.
sure the
No.
mini set's gonna probably elaborate on that.
Yeah, they haven't. They haven't brought it back yet. I thought it was supposed to be for this expansion, but apparently not yet.
okay.
Could be anything.
We've
But it can't be something that's already in the game in standard. I think so. It can't be like dormant, which is cool because I don't like that. I don't like that.
don't like that. Oh man. All right, so we've got top classes on all ranks on all regions here, right? We have Warrior sitting very, very high, 56.7%, followed by Druid 54, Demon Hunter at 52.8, Draco's happy, Mage at 50%, and then all of the other classes, Hunter, Paladin, Rogue, Shaman, Warlock, and Priest, sub 50% currently. Again, this is very, very like fresh in the meta. This has changed a lot, almost I want to say daily. There's a lot of influx and a lot of different decks being brewed, being played incorrectly. So I mean, just even thinking day one Demon Hunter, people are like, wow, this sucks, and then Draco over here is top 200 legend, absolutely just slamming people, and people are like, this deck's horrible. It's like, no, you're just bad. So there's a lot of refinement, a lot of decks to like learn, for sure. Anything we want to add
Funny
to
though how
this?
Demon Hunter went from being the last to being
Yeah,
third
yeah.
today. And I was saying this the day one of the expansion. And I know you were in my streams in the mornings and stuff too, where I was like, no, it is actually really good. It's incredibly good. I mean, how would we be winning this much if it's this good? If it's not good, and then everyone was like, "It's bad, dude. Are you okay?" But now we see it caught up. It caught up, man.
Yeah, I think Demon Hunter is not bad at all. I think the aggressive version is probably the best right now because of like all the druids and stuff. But I think that like the fell deck is pretty. Like the fell Naga deck is actually pretty nice. It's just like maybe once we see some changes and some other classes get toned down, then it could shine. But overall I think the class is like fine. I mean, there's not
It's
so many different archetypes that work, but
yeah, that
um,
archetype's bad into the druid deck, so
Wait, Draco, you'll be proud of
it's
me. I
not
was
gonna happen.
dabbling with some Demon Hunter yesterday, and I know like the lady Syntho with the abusive sergeant, something that you explored a little bit with the quest, and then like, but I was
Yeah,
like, all right, how do we make this even more annoying? So I was like looking at all the cards and seeing what cards are just terrible and how we could turn them to be good. So the new, the demonic Fellwing, the 1 mana summon 2/1/1s, and then if it like levels up, you like keep making more. And then with the
yeah.
2 mana deal 1 to everything, honorable kill, increase your attack by how many that died with the new Fell Soul with for 1 mana. So for 5 mana, you can get a shit ton of attack, proc lady 3 times and draw 3 cards or more, along with also having abusive out too, so you get the extra draw there. So that combo ended up, we OTK'd people on turn 5 to 6 like multiple times.
That's pretty cool.
It was really.
You're missing one more card in the combo. You're missing the Wrath Scale Naga, because after you kit everything, then it would make all of the tokens do 3 damage pings as well.
Yeah. I figured that was like a more tokeny build than like the lady OTK, because this was just solely based
For
on
sure.
lady damage and face damage. But yeah, the Naga would also be like really good with that. Yeah, I was like, Draco would be proud of this spiciness.
That's pretty cool.
But yeah, we see
Yeah, so yeah. Go ahead.
Priest, Warlock, and Shaman and Rogue there at the bottom. But again, Rogue being like sub 50%, D Money just last night, like I don't know how many games. You were like 10-1 when I was like passing out. You had lost a couple games after that, but like obviously the deck, you're like, dude, how does like this deck just feels awesome? And you were doing great at like what? You went from like 500 legend to like 200-ish in a matter of like an hour and a half. So
Yeah, Pirate Rogue is really good. Like it's not bad at all. I managed. I think at the end of the night I was probably like 62%, nothing too crazy, but I did start off like just killing it. And the deck really puts a fight against most decks. I really, yeah, I think people are kind of underrating it a bit. A lot of decks. There's
Swordfish?
actually. What was that?
You're playing the Swordfish deck?
yeah.
Yes, just a pirate deck. I have Hook Tusk in it too.
Oh, okay.
And Hook Tusk is really good against the Mill Priest, because you steal 5 of their cards out of their deck and you get their hero card or like the amulets and stuff, and they just lose. But yeah, had a fun time with that deck. It's pretty nice, but yeah, Warlock and Priest at the bottom here with 41% each. Yeah, I mean, Priest is seeing popularity with like the Mill Priest kind of thing with the Selfish Shellfish. I think it is pretty strong, but it seems like it's hard to play, I guess, and maybe that's why it's down there. And that's also the only Priest archetype that's actually like viable, so that's probably why it's so low. And Warlock just has like nothing. Like Murlocs, I think is the best bet, and like it's not fantastic. So
I think
pretty
there's
sad
room
for those two
for
classes. Yeah.
I think there's some room for Priest to like push into the dragon archetype a little bit with the operative being back and that horn being in the game and like Kaz still being around. I think Priest is not positioned bad at all. I just think people, one, aren't playing it correctly, two, haven't brewed a lot with it, and three, it's like just not as popular as like most people aren't gonna like go out of their way to like try to make a 41.5% class better, right? They're gonna see warrior, druid, demon hunter, mage and be like, all right, I'm probably gonna build one of those, right? Just because they're not deck builders and they just want to
Well,
win.
I can tell you, I've went out of my way to try to make the Priest better, and
We're exceptions, Dan. We're the exception. What do you mean it's awful?
like
You
not,
try for like one day and then you lose like 100
Aw.
ranks and then you're like, all right, man, it sucks. Bro, you gotta tank those ranks to build something spicy. It requires thousands of legends points to be lost before you can even start chipping away at the gem of a true meme, delicious, succulent deck. It takes thousands of ranks, Dan. I would know.
The thing is, it's hard to make like a lot of control decks work when Kazakusan is so strong. And I'll go into Kazakusan a little more when we talk about some Nerf predictions. But I think that I think Kazakusan makes it so like it's so hard to just survive against that card and as a control deck, and then also Pirate Warrior with like their infinite value with the Juggernaut is just it's very hard to beat, and they go very quickly, and that's why you see that at the top there. I mean, that deck is just it's still as strong as ever. You still play the green cards, and you still win.
It is what was it? Solemn posted a Twitter post, and he was like, "People who their job is to play Hearthstone rated Nelly bad. It's their job to play Hearthstone. How could you possibly think this card would be bad?" He's like, it was such an insult, but it was really funny. But yeah, Nelly is really, really good. Pirate Warrior's good. All the pirates, they're statted competitively. Their abilities are really, really good. If they stick around, you win. The deck is aggressive. It has infinite value. I mean, it's just, and it's everything it was before but just kind of better, right? The only thing they did do is slow down the quest by making it so you had to play an additional pirate like they did with the Overload Shaman, requiring that additional step in the quest. But we'll see how that all turns out.
I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
Dredge in that deck is not fair. Like giving Dredge to a deck that taps out on Nelly and Mr. Smite, and they're the same exact card practically, with unlimited value is really unfair because all you really used to be able to rely on after a warrior completed Juggernaut was that they were just going to top deck the wrong cards, and then you were going to be able to somehow kill them first while they were not hitting Mr. Smite and the good weapons. But now, because of the fact that the cards allow you to tutor specific cards, that the likelihood that they're going to whiff and just continue having horrible draws over and over and over again is not likely at all.
Yep.
Because yeah, you're just going to die. The whole deck is way more consistent because there are a whole bunch of, what is it, 3 of the pirates have Dredge? No, it's 2. 2 of the pirates have Dredge. And that's pretty consistent when you're discovering pirates and yeah.
I do think Dredge
is very powerful.
Yeah. I was gonna say Dredge is good. Like I don't mind that mechanic at all. I think it's a very, I don't want to say super skill intensive, but I much prefer Dredge over Discover. Because you can at least assume, like, you know what's in their deck, you know it's playable, and you know it can come, right? It's just controlled draw at a limited pace rather than massive draw or just a huge amounts of Discover. So Dredge as a mechanic, I think is fine, but giving certain classes access to too much Dredge, like Draco said, leads to consistency, like too high of a consistency in a deck that like already is going to do something very quickly, and it has like an insane power level once it reaches that point. So Dan, sorry to cut you off.
Yes. AKA Druid with that with that sentiment as well. With that aquatic form, it's just so strong. Getting into whatever you need, whether it's Earthen Scales or some kind of draw card, Nourish. Yeah, very powerful mechanic. But like you said, yeah, it's not Discover, not random effects. So there's not really that much random effects in the game, which is pretty cool. I had something else I was gonna say. I don't remember it though.
Okay.
I think a really important thing to pick out is the.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Is Dredge is better in 2 different circumstances. And the circumstance 1, which it's most autofill in, is in aggressive, like curve out decks, like exactly like Pirate Warrior. That's why the Bone Glaive is good in Demon Hunter, because that deck is just trying to kill people. And if you cap out at 5, then what you can dredge next can be your other Bone Glaive or your Kurtrus, and you're just pushing so much damage with that last bit of control draw at the end of the game that you don't really have the ability to whiff while you're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you're dead. Where like the other circumstance where Dredge is kind of busted is if you're a deck that runs a whole bunch of ramp, where the deck can actually pop off if you play like your Nourishes and your Wild Growths and you hit the ramp cards early so you have a shit ton of mana before your opponent. So it makes a ton of sense why the aquatic form and the pirates with Dredge are the like things that are actually making these decks insane. Because Druid always has ramp now, and Warrior doesn't run out of steam. That's what their weaknesses were.
Yep.
Right?
I think it's a very strong mechanic. And I just wanted to point out that I feel like Pirate Warrior is like the new Face Hunter. Because there's like there's not really like a Face Hunter right now. Face Hunter's like always at the top and always has a really good win percentage. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. That's it.
All right. So now that we covered the overall meta in regards to all ranks, all classes upon all ranks on all servers, let's take a deeper dive into what the top 1K legend is on each of the 3 servers. Surprisingly, we do have Naga Hunter, a Demon Hunter at the top here at 55%, Ramp Druid at 54.5%, and a Conjurer Druid at 54.5%. In the high tier 1s, even though tier 2 is not far behind, we're talking like less than a percentage here, guys. We have Token Demon Hunter at 53%, Beast Druid at 53%, Pirate Rogue at 52%, and Burn Shaman at 51%. So, quick note that we can pull from this is that Pirate Rogue right there at 50, almost 52% was one of the lowest classes, or was one of the lower classes on the overall, but one of the higher, obviously at the tier 1, or tier 1, tier 2 era at the top 1K. So obviously people aren't playing this correctly, and if you play it correctly, you can unlock a little bit more potential there. Along with Shaman, I didn't really see Shaman. Where was Shaman on our overall? Sitting at 46.6. This is showing it at 51. So again, Burn Shaman, one of those classes that is a little bit more difficult. It does have the freeze mechanic in it, which is quite annoying and very, very powerful. Doesn't require too much brain cells, but the burn side of it kind of does, with knowing how to line up the damage matchup specifically and how to mulligan to your advantage. So some interesting things here in regards to percentages overall, and then looking at top 1K. So
yeah, I've got a couple things here. First of all, if you want to learn how to play Rogue, twitch.tv/dmoney.
He's a Rogue main now.
I'm the new J Alex, all right. And then
I thought you were supposed to play good decks and spicy decks, not like meta decks, dude.
It's so hard to play like unique decks right now because
No!
of so
What
much.
are you talking about? This is the best time. This set's been out for like 4 days. You're like, man, it's tough out here in the meta streets.
All right. You know, it might be easy in top 5K. It might be easy in 5K Legend, bro. But you know, it's everybody at my rank just plays freaking Druid, bro. So I can't. I don't have.
Right.
Yeah, against Druid, like you can't actually play that many things, and it's kind of sad. So I think that's why they will tone it down pretty soon. But another thing to note here, I just want to like clarify a couple of these decks is that like the Naga Demon Hunter that we see at the top. First of all, I'm surprised to see it number 1, but it makes sense because it should be good against Druid, which is a lot of matchups. The Naga Demon Hunter is kind of like a more aggressive. It's kind of like an aggro. It's like a face deck, yeah.
It is a face deck.
And then the Burn Shaman is like a combo deck, because you like that's with like bioluminescence, I believe. So you like freeze the opponent's board. You develop these like a lot of 3/3s. You put bioluminescence down, and you deal a lot of damage. Like you burst down in like 1 turn usually. And by the way, 3 druids in this list right here, and that's what we've seen previous before this expansion came out, like for like a million weeks. So just pointing that out there, like a lot of druid decks still very strong. Yeah.
Before we did the podcast, Rob and D-Money and I, we were kind of talking about how Ramp Druid feels like it's at the same power level as last expansion, and everything else got kind of hit. So I think Druid does feel like a power offender because it's just so good against everything, and it can flexibly kind of win any matchup. And its weaknesses are just very subtle. So yeah, I think it's pretty obvious why Druid's better than everything.
Yes.
Yeah, I gotta step out real quick. Hold on. Carry on.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, but you got your Demon Hunter up there, Draco.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately something that kind of Demon Hunter that I really love to play because I like the thinky decks, and this is one of the ones where you curve out and like hope you just draw really good, and then if you do, there's nothing that your opponent can really do to stabilize because they dead.
I mean, did you have Token Demon Hunter up here? I think you were playing that kind of recently.
Yeah, I was playing it a little recently. I gave it a shot. You know, I played like what is the word? Like, I don't know, 200, 300 games of this deck. They're kind of the same deck. You know, both the Token and the Naga, except the Naga Demon Hunter is a little bit better because it runs like Spectral Sights, and Token Demon Hunter runs Feast of Souls, which is worse. So that's honestly like the biggest difference. And the Naga one also is kind of more built around getting the Lady and the Predations off. It runs Predations as well, unlike the Token one, which does not run Predations. But they're the same deck, you know, like the same concept. You play your 1-drop on 1, you play your 2-drop on 2. On turn 3, you maybe play a 2-drop in Hero Power. Turn 4, you do something else. Turn 5, you play Bone Glaive, dredge up your Kurtrus, end the game. You know, that's it.
Sounds like Hearthstone to me.
No, I think the reason these decks are actually like pretty high up is because of I don't know if you had anyone do this to you, Dan, but they play Battle-Worn Vanguard and multi-strike on like coin or something.
Yes, that is very strong.
It's disgusting. Like the 2/2 with what is it, like 4/1/1s on the board on turn 2 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. We also have so I was talking about we had the 3 Druid decks up here. We have Beast Druid up here as well at the top of tier 2. I haven't really seen. I don't think I played against one Beast Druid since the new
Yeah,
expansion
neither have
came
I.
out. But I mean, like we were saying, like any aggressive deck is going to be good against these ramp druids. So if you're looking to beat ramp druid, if you play against 50% of ramp druid like me, I would play something aggressive, and I think Pyro Rogue is very aggressive as well. I think that's why that's up there too. Um, it goes pretty fast. Any deck that's gonna go fast is gonna be good against that. Um, yeah, I think that's why we see the top like it is.
It's pretty
But
obvious that the meta's just worked around countering Druid because it's like all Druid and then 2 decks that are meant to hard counter Druid and
yeah,
then Pirate, Rogue, and Shaman.
which is pretty much exactly how it was before the expansion too.
Yeah.
Druid was on top, and then you played a different Druid like Beast Druid to beat the Druid, and then you played other Smork decks like Face Hunter to just counter it. But if you queued into something else, then you lost. So hopefully we don't develop that rock paper scissors kind of thing again. But
It
yeah,
looks like it's happening already.
a little bit. But we could go on to the next topic now that Warshack is back. We got some Nerf predictions here. I actually need
Yes.
to add another card to this list.
Oh, another card. All right. So Nerf predictions. This one is for this one's on me. I'm sure many other people agree as well. We have Switcheroo here. While it's a fantastic priest card, it goes for a lot of funness, a lot of cool plays. It also gives priests access to some draw. But unfortunately, it has led to, as we know, the combo, whether it be in wild with the boar and the darkness for 40 damage on turn like 3 or 4. In standard, it's also an issue because of the Murloc. You get 12, 12 in stats between 2 bodies with rush. So chat, you don't think it's a problem, but you have to look at this as like, while the deck will have a sub 50% win rate most of the time, just because like if you draw your minions first, it loses. You have to look at this as like, I want people to play Hearthstone, right? I want people to have fun playing Hearthstone. I want new people to play Hearthstone. So if you have like a new player or a old player returning into the game, and their first couple games, let's say the average player plays like maybe 5 to 15 games a day, and they queue into this and they lose 2 or 3 of those games because of this, they lose on turn 3 or 4. The likelihood of them logging out after this occurs is probably quite high. They're going to be like, well, this game never changed. I've lost on turn 4 to something that I couldn't stop. There was no stopping this. And as somebody who plays hundreds of games, the variance weighs itself out, right? You'll beat this deck more times than not. But like, I don't put myself in the same shoes as the average player on this game because I just play so much of it, right? So we know variance, we know stats, we know that like it's going to all even out, right? But there's some guy who just plays this casually, who watches the YouTube or whatever, like he's not gonna put up with this. He doesn't care. He'll go do something else that brings more enjoyment than getting hit with a Murloc that has 24 attack on turn 3. So I'm not looking at this as a competitive nerf, but more so just like the normal gamer nerf.
No, I actually agree with you guys, chat, about how like what your initial reaction to when Warshak mentioned this card of you guys saying like it's not the problem, it's not even good, it doesn't happen that much. Like that was my immediate response as well when Warshak brought this up. But then when he brought up the play experience thing, that is like why cards get nerfed in Hearthstone. And if any of you guys stream this game and you have people watching you when someone does the switcheroo combo to you, like your whole chat is just like really pissed off at Hearthstone. And like I know that it's been done to me like 3 times live, and every single time there's like hundreds or not hundreds, there's like
Thousands.
like shit ton of people writing, thousands, millions of people writing that like I'm glad I just watch people play Hearthstone and shit like that. Like because that would be like infuriating. I can't deal with this game. Like or like people in my stream are saying shit like, do you want to play TFT now? Like then they see this happen to you. So it's a bad play experience thing, whether or not the deck is good. But it makes you ask the question, because when Blizzard made this card, they had to kind of probably consider the disgusting things that people would do with these, and that bad toxic feeling of someone playing like a huge card on turn 4 or something, or earlier.
Yeah, the thing is, like, how do you change this card though? Even if you make it 4 mana, like they could still just illuminate and then play it the next turn. Like it's still gonna, you can still get it out on the same turn. Like I don't know how you change this so you play like that combo doesn't exist.
Yeah. So you
I don't
either
know.
target this card or you target the pieces. Again, I'm not here. I don't get paid enough to solve these kinds of
Okay.
issues. But I could just tell you that, like, all I care about in Hearthstone is new players playing and them watching me on YouTube or Twitch. Like, that is the focus, right? And this card will stop some of those players from doing that.
Yeah, make the text say draw 1 minion, swap their stats.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah,
Remove the whale from the art, like, it'd be perfect.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with this card. But
All right. Well,
I
that's
agree
my
that deck is very obnoxious. Yeah.
So that's one of my guesses. The other one is, of course, Guff. Everybody's talked about this card. It was funny at first. Like, this was like a very low rated, like at the start of the previous expansion. Like, it was just like, okay, Guff, 20 mana, lol. Hearthstone never even gets to 10. Imagine getting to 20. And then, like, slowly but surely, like, Druid. And then, like, Druid was like the best deck at the end of last expansion. This being a card that, like, when you play this, whether it be on curve or earlier than curve, it just feels really good. This is a feels good card for when you play it. And if, like, you just feel like you're now hedged to win for sure. And it activates a lot of funness in Druid. Definitely playing out 15 plus mana is a great time for that player. But as the opposing player, it's very, very hard to compete when you're at like 5 or 6 mana. Your opponent has 12 and they're playing like 30 in stats on the board and or more, right? So for this one, I do like, bringing it to 6 mana. I honestly don't think that is enough. If they're going to put Nourish at 5, put this guy at 7. And you know what I mean? Like, he just seems a little too good. Druid's a little too overtuned right now in comparison to like what Draco said earlier. Like, Druid's power level is still the same and every other class went lower. So either bring Druid down or everybody else up, and Druid's the outlier, right? So just bring that guy back down. Make Guff cost a little bit more. It's still a fun card, keeps all the same effects, but you just have to pay mana to get mana.
Yeah, I mean, whoever said this card was not going to be good, we gotta, I don't know, we gotta have a talk, because I think it was pretty evident that this card was busted before they even released it. I don't know, it's pretty insane. Like, on top of all these effects, you gain 5 armor too. Like, there's just no way. Yeah, it's got to be at least 7 mana, at least. And then if you want to do something else to the effect, you can. But like, it's so not fair the way that it is.
I think it should be bad to moonlight into Goth to the point where you don't want to play the second Goth because the mana worth isn't just getting the armor, the draw, and the mana ramp. Like, I feel like you need to care about the effects being the 20 mana crystals worth the mana of playing it. So like, if it was at 7 and then you moonlighted into Goth and you played Goth, you probably don't have enough time to breathe to play the other 7 mana worth of Goth, right? Like,
Imagine having empathy for these Druid players.
I'm not having empathy. I'm just talking about the design, bro. Like, what?
I get you.
But, like, shouldn't that be the case, right? Like
I mean, that's
like
one scenario.
But like, people play 5 mana Goth that they moonlighted just because it gives you armor, draws a card, and ramps you more. And it's so easy to just weave into another play later on in the game. And I think that shows like how powerful the card is, where people are playing it without even caring about the effects. That's insane.
The mana doesn't matter. It's the fact that like the 20 mana extension is not why they play it. They just play because they draw a card, ramp, and they get the 5 armor. Yeah, because they're not.
Yeah, it already
exactly
does enough.
Yeah. Definitely agree.
Yeah,
Very
I think,
strong card.
a card that's not on our list is I think Nourish. It's just something to think about. I mean, Nourish was unnerfed to from 6 mana to 5 mana, and it's really strong at 5 mana. Like, just wild growth into Nourish in this economy is just very, very strong. It's a little too strong. Like, just having double your opponent's mana crystals like on turn 4 or 5, like doesn't feel great as the opponent. So not sure. Maybe we could see that get nerfed again. I don't know. Just something to throw out there. So ramp is super strong.
Yes, yes. All right. We are at 140, so I'll have to pump through some of these a little bit faster. Dan, this was your card.
Kazaku-san. Yes. So if you read, if you see on the screen, this card is already changed. This was Habu Gabu's proposed change to Kazaku-san, where you make the battle cry if all minions in your deck were dragons when you started the game, and like if all minions in your starting deck were dragons, craft, then you get the treasures. So as opposed to how it is right now, where it's if all the cards in your deck, like at the point of when you play it, if all of them are dragons, then you get the treasures. This makes it so you have to actually run all dragons besides this card, or else at the beginning, or else like you can't get it, which I think would solve a lot of problems. I don't know if that's the change they'll go with, or like they could just like tone down the treasures too a little bit. But yeah, this I like this change a lot. I mean, it would change a lot in the game. Like they would not be able to run a lot of the cards that they run. They run oracles, Naga giants, all this kind of stuff. So
yeah, I think this is a solid change. And if it's still broken, modify it more. But yeah, putting like if you have a really powerful card like this with an insanely powerful effect, when like the treasures mostly win the games, right? Like you need to have the requirement needs to be stricter than just like what it is now. And what it is now is you don't like Druid has so much draw, like they could just play non-dragons in the deck and then just draw them prior to playing this, right? Like it doesn't make this card any less playable in Druid, but this would make it a little you know, they would make the Druid deck weaker in the front end, but still have that late game power. And I think that would even things out a little bit and definitely hurt the Druid a little bit more. But I mean, right now I'm losing to Druid before they even play this card. This card's just like icing. I'm losing just the pre-bake period. So, yeah. Mecha Shark. I think, Dan, you did this one too.
yeah, I think Mecha Shark is a candidate for a nerf. I don't think it has to be touched too much, but yeah, when this card pops off, it could just end the game like very soon, maybe like turn 4 or something, or turn 5. So I think that it would be fair if it did like 2 damage, if they just toned it down from 3 to 2, to enemies split.
What about
So
just having 3 attack? A 3/3/3 that does 3.
that's not the problem though. The attack is not the problem. It's I think it's that effect.
Okay.
Yeah, it just snowballs too hard, I think.
I think there's another card that makes this card a little bit better too, and that's the discount mech card. So I think you either hit one or the other. I think this, as it is, like, it's good, but like normally you'd only play like 1 or 2 mechs, but because you have the discounts and you have like mechs that cost 0 and mechs that cost 2 that cost 1, like you're able to play like 4 or 5 mechs instead of just like 1 or 2, and I think that's also kind of an issue. Also, it's
I think
you could
the
change.
fact is they can discover this, like a million of them. There's like you don't even have to run it in your deck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like-
why it's
Yeah.
that's why the damage has to be toned down, I think, because you
Also-
could get just 3 of these on the board, and there's no way.
And it has summon instead of play, so like anything that like summons additional minions instead of playing them counts. So if you like, yeah, like one guy, he hit me with a mothership and it gave him 2 mecha sharks and each one procs.
Oh, God.
Like yeah, I was just like, okay, like I guess I just take extra damage now. So yeah, there's quite a few ways to make this card worse, that like still make it playable for sure. Whether it's a problem, I mean, I don't think it's too big of an issue yet. Mech Mage isn't too big, but like it's approaching the line for sure in regards to just like taking a shit ton of damage and not being able to respond to it, which I think is what this card, like the root of it is, right? It's just like I just took 10 to 15 damage and I couldn't respond to it. So
yeah, there's a lot of powerful decks right now. I don't think Mech Mage is the best deck, but there's times where it's very obnoxious. So yeah, this is one of my choices here.
And then
I
Dan,
think
this
Mech
is
Mage is the coolest noob deck that they've ever made.
it's cool. I don't mind it. It's no big deal for
It's
me.
really cool. It's so easy to play. It looks like all the minions are sick, and
Yeah.
it just feels really good when you play it. It can like kind of win any matchup, and you can get really lucky and then just like have a hell of a time. It's an incredible noob deck. Way better than Libram Paladin.
Yes,
Yeah,
I would rather play
anything is-
against Mech Mage for sure. I think Dan, you have another card here too, and then Draco, did you have a card or not so much?
I think the card that I won would probably be like, I don't know, like the cards you guys have mentioned. I don't know, Earthen Scales going to 2. But
Like it.
that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so last card I had to talk about for Nerf candidate was Puffer Fist. I think this card could get toned down to a 3/3, and that's cool. Like I just think this card is too strong how it is. It like solos certain decks on its own. So I think the 4 health breakpoint is a pretty big deal, and losing the 1 health I think would be nice to see. This card is got to be like this is a standout card from the expansion, I think. And
Yeah, I think that's a fair nerf though. Just making its health not
Yep.
so difficult to remove because its effect is amazing. So
yes, very strong. That's it.
I want to see someone run it with Doomhammer.
Wait, is that card in the game?
Well, I mean, it works with
don't know.
multi-strike, so
Yeah, it does. So
and it'd be like multi-strike
I
and a
think that's why
multi-strike
this
and a
card is super
multi-strike.
fun.
Yeah. Seems good. So we're gonna be moving on to the next segment, which is our favorite deck so far. For me, I've been really enjoying the Curse Warlock. There are a lot of problems inherently with the curses, the way they interact in the hand and like the way they ramp up. I'll cover them like very, very briefly. I think they're good, but they can be changed to be tweaked just a little bit better. One being like Abyssal Wave and the 4 mana Into the Depths. Either increase the damage or reduce the mana cost by 1. I think would be good on those. Playing a 6 mana deal 4 to everything is like just really, really bad. So just like the cards themselves are subpar. And then the curses, if you give your opponent a curse, let's say it's the first one, they take 1 damage, right? And if they opt to not get rid of it in their hand and pay 2 mana, the next turn they still only take 1 because that's the first curse you played. In my opinion, it should ramp to 2. If they opt to hold the card in their hand and not play it out, they should take increased curse damage because they're holding it, and that's kind of what curses do. They do more damage over time, and it still only does the 1. Also, the card sticks in the hand up until the draw step, so sometimes it's better for you just to not play out the curse, because then your opponent, if they give you another one, you overdraw. But if you just hold the curse, you take less damage and you don't overdraw. So like by doing what the curse, like the game, the whole point is to not have curses in your hand, but it's the better play to just keep it in your hand. Like that shouldn't be the case. It should be a better play to remove the curse from your hand so you take less damage and not overdraw, rather than keeping the curse in your hand. You get it goes away before you get the card and you take less. It's just it's anti-synergetic with itself, which I don't think is good. Like there's just issues inherently with
That's
the
bad
fundamentals. Yeah, like it's just not how I think it's supposed to work. And I played this deck a couple times and I instantly saw the issues with how they function in the hand and the damage. And I was like, until this gets fixed, the deck is not going to be that good. Granted, if you play against like a quest control priest, whoever they beat, I don't know who they beat, but they beat somebody out there on ladder. Yeah, this deck will shit on those guys, right? But like if you're playing against any actual real deck, this deck has a problem keeping up with not only healing, but just damage in general. So, but it's super fun to play. Curses are a great time.
Quest Hunter with it?
I have not played. Honestly, I played a good amount yesterday and the day before, and I queued into 0 quest hunters. I don't know where they all went.
You know what happens, right?
What? Oh, they play it and they refresh their hero power and whatnot.
No, the curses trigger their quest completion.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's never had. Holy shit! That is terrible.
Yeah. It's,
oh
you're doing
my
damage with a
god!
spell.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, I had one time I played against a druid. Oh my, I didn't even think of that. But yeah, one time I played against a druid and he played a card that somehow generated him the Arcane Anomaly card that grows every time he plays a spell. And I gave him like 4 curses and he just buffed it up and then killed me with my own curses. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Because they count as spells. So yeah, there's a lot of things that make it bad, but you could make it better. There are ways to make this slightly better that I think would make it into like a low tier 3, high tier 3 deck instead of being a tier non-existent deck. So
If it
Yeah,
ever became tier 1, though, at least we all know to just play Quest Hunter to counter the deck.
yeah.
Complete our quests for us.
yeah. I mean, I think if they made all the changes that you're proposing, or if they addressed like a lot of the things that you're talking about, I think maybe it would be too strong. But
Yeah. Not all of them, but like they just stack on each other, right? Like each thing
Yeah.
just makes it just substantially worse.
I think the additional damage for each proc on a single curse is a good idea. I think that alone might actually like make it semi viable. Um but yeah, I think it's a pretty fun deck, and it's actually like not too bad. I think Rod is the way to go, but I don't want to run Rod. I think
Mhm.
Rod. I just don't want to pay
Yeah.
5 mana for that card, especially when there's no backfire in the game. It's kind of sad. If they have Viper, you probably just lose, but maybe not. But yeah, I like the deck besides the Rod. I just have like a vendetta against Rod since like it was busted for a while.
Yeah, but now it's fair.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah,
like
but now I don't
now
wanna-
the card is fair.
it's too late. It's too late. I already hate it.
Okay. All
Like
right.
I,
Well,
I just have like I was talking about this yesterday on my stream. Like I just have these biases. Like Hearthstone just makes me have so many biases. Um, like especially like when I lose against like a deck, not even a specific card, but like a whole entire deck. Like if I play against Naga Mage, like I don't want to play. I don't want to play Naga Mage myself because it's just so toxic to play against.
no, it's
Like
not. The deck is so
it
hard and
makes me
fun.
feel it makes me feel so bad when I play against it, when I lose against it, when they play like 40 mana worth of cards on the turn, like that I
Y-
just don't want to play it myself.
I think
That's like one
I
of my
think
bias.
yeah, you definitely need to play the deck. For example, Naga Mage particularly, because that's a hard one, Dan. Like that deck is not an easy deck to play. Like you get very fatigued from playing Naga Mage. I'm not gonna lie. And if you make
The
one
thing
mistake,
is, like, it doesn't.
like
Yeah, like it doesn't matter how hard the deck is if it's just like busted. That's the thing.
yes, it
But I
does.
don't know if it's busted. No, you could if Garrote Rogue was hard to play and it was just OP like it was.
Well, you could
It
play
has
that
to get
deck like a
toned down.
fool and do well. Like there's a difference between like Garrett Rogue, which would kill you on turn 6 or 7. Like Naga Mage doesn't kill you; it just puts a bunch of Nagas on the board. They might do like 4 to 6 damage, but like they're not killing you the turn they pop off. They're setting up for the following turn, and if you clear the board, their hand only has a couple cards in it left. Like it's just if you have the AOE to deal with it, you're pretty much good. Like I don't know. I feel like not.
Usually.
It's like Garrett Rogue was
Sometimes they
not
can
board
restock
centric
their
at
hand.
all. Like Garrett
Yeah,
Rogue was completely.
This is definitely. Yeah, this is definitely more manageable, and it's not like Mozaki Mage where it just kills you
Yeah.
on like turn 6 or whatever. But there's times where the ignites get a little too much, and it doesn't really matter what you do. Yeah, I
All right,
don't
we
know. Just
gotta.
throwing that out there. We gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah. We
Next,
have
what do we got?
like 5 more minutes. So let's knock these out. Here's Dan's Mech Paladin. Would you like to say anything about this?
I like this deck.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Good stuff.
Pretty
Good
basic,
overview. Good
yeah,
deck
I mean-
guide. Hit legend, boys.
Yeah, I did peek at top 50 with this list. Just like a standard Mech Paladin list, and it was fun. One of my most enjoyed decks of the expansion. Mechs are fun in general, like we were saying about like Mech Mage, and everyone's playing Mech Mage. I like Mech Paladin. I don't know. It's yellow cards.
Mm-hmm. How you liking the Storm Coil?
What's that?
Okay, you don't
Oh,
even know the
any.
cards in your own deck. All right, moving along.
I call
Pirate
it any,
Rogue. Dan,
bro.
how you like Pirate
I
Rogue?
call it any. Any is really good. I like it a lot.
Okay.
By the way, I like that Paladin deck so much that I made it all gold. Just saying. Pirate Rogue, I played for the first time really like yesterday, and I played like probably 30 games or so, 40 games, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think we were talking about it a little earlier. Yeah, just another deck that I enjoy a lot. I think the Plague Scientist combo with Puffer Fist
Huh?
is insanely good and very necessary. It gives you a chance against a lot of decks. Like that's actually you really need it. That's what like takes the deck to that next level. And yeah, I am a fan.
Yeah, you did really well with this deck. It seemed like very, very aggressive, and that Pufferfish Plague Scientist is a really cool combo. Also, again, thanks for the raid, Chris. Always appreciated, man. Welcome everybody to this Metabreakers podcast. We're heading towards the end here. We're talking about some of our favorite decks so far. Yeah, so for those of you who are new, welcome. We have another deck here, Draco Cat's deck, and then after this, there will be no Q&A. We do have to wrap it up today. Draco Cat's on a mini vacation and needs to skedaddle and do many fun things. So. What do we got here?
He's got to go hunt for some Easter eggs
He's gotta,
around the yard.
He's got to get some moose in Maine.
Yeah, so this isn't my deck. This is Hunter Ace's deck. He made it a couple days ago, and I've been having a lot of fun playing this deck off stream. So it's a Quest Demon Hunter deck, but it's also a Fel Demon Hunter deck. Jace is your win condition with Kurtrus. But some of the interesting cards in this deck that I never would have thought were good are the Coil Scar Commanders. So they're the Nagas that are the 6-mana 2/6s that summon a copy of themselves. And this deck is really weird because you don't actually really care about finishing the quest. The thing that makes the quest good is just getting the first and the second quest step of mana reductions. So whenever that happens, it happens, and you kind of play like a normal control deck. But the one thing that's pretty crazy is there's like a couple different pop-off turns that you can have. One of the interesting cards in this deck that I never would have thought of playing as well is the Stormpike Quartermaster, which the Stormpike Quartermaster is when you play a spell, make then another card, a minion in your hand, gain +1/+1. So the cards that have synergy with that are the Coil Scar Commanders, because since they summon 3 copies of themselves, I've had it get to the point where I summoned or I played for 5 mana. I developed 3 5 were they
9s
5 9s, yeah. For 5 mana, 3 5 9 taunts. Which, you know, like against like a Pirate Warrior or something, the game's over. And that card, if you just play it against a Pirate Warrior while it's like ready, where it's glowing yellow and it summons the copies of itself, there is no way that they get through it. A lot of the aggro decks also just like lose the second you put all those taunts down, because the only real answer is like Mossy Horror, and if you buff it, then yeah, plays around that too. So cool deck. Yeah, you have the Jace to finish it, and the other card that's also insane if you buff it is obviously the Lady Setheno, because since Lady Setheno is in a quest deck, you pop off even harder with her, meaning like a lot, like all the spells are way cheaper in this deck than they are in the Fel Demon Hunter decks when you play her. So you get to have even crazier turns with Lady Setheno, and you might have buffed her up with the Quartermaster, and it makes it even more nuts. So really fun deck. It's got a whole bunch of little mini combos, and just has some ridiculous toxic taunt walls. It's great.
Yeah,
I've never actually seen this before.
Yeah, this looks very interesting.
Yeah, I've seen people play the 2/6 card against me, the one that copies itself twice, and that card is very strong. Even I've never seen it buffed before, but like even without the buff, like that's just so many stats for the mana to like get through. Yeah, even as like not even like a full aggro deck, but like a tempo kind of deck, like it's still a lot. It's a big wall. So I can only imagine if it was buffed. I didn't even know this Quartermaster card was a card. Like even after you said the effect, I was like, "What? I don't even know what this is, man." You making like your own custom cards over here? You're able to play with those in the game? What's happening?
Yeah, I've been playing around with this on like EU all weekend, and it's actually really good. Like it beats Pirate Warrior. I think Hunter Ace got into like rank 130 or something with it the other day. So on EU, so it's legit. But obviously the piloting is pretty challenging, because there's a million things you can do in one turn, and you have to like play with like control restraints and know when to complete steps and when not to.
Yeah, this looks spicy. I like it. I might actually add this to the list of many decks that we still need to play. Oh my gosh, so many decks. But with that, that's gonna wrap up this week's Metabreakers podcast, guys. Don't go anywhere though. I'll be playing more Hearthstone and fun decks after this. But before our guests go, or the other co-hosts, the homies, let's go ahead and give them an exclamation point podcast. This is both D Money and Draco Cats. Links to their channel. They also obviously both stream quite often and are fantastic dudes. So haven't checked them out, haven't seen them. I'm sure most of you guys have. Give them the good old follow. So thanks guys for having me. Have fun on your mini vacay, Draco, and then Dan, I know you're just gonna go back to sleep. So
yeah, that's like a mini vacation for me, honestly. Yeah, have a good Easter stream. Thank you, everybody. Have a good Easter. We'd love to know what you think about the podcast and chat if you liked it. Yeah, see ya. Have a good one.
Later,
See you guys.
dudes.
Have a wonderful day.